two worlds, one with pollinators and one without. A world without pollinators is one with economic decline, extinction, as well as starvation. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, 25% of all crops grown worldwide would not survive would only survive without pollinators. Now there's the world with pollinators, which is the one we live in. But unfortunately, according to IDNR, there are several bumblebee species in Iowa that have undergone alarming declines. Before we specify on how pollinators help benefit our world and ecosystems, as well as how we are gonna help increase the number of pollinators in Iowa, here are our team hosts.
So first, we have me, myself as a presenter and an interviewer. We have Sadie as a presenter and an advisor. We have Harper as a presenter and organizer. We have Noah as a writer and a producteer. So our problem statement is the decline of pollinators. This is a bumblebee, a butterfly, and a hummingbird. These are the main pinnacle of our focuses.
Those are our main pollinators. But how do our pollinators benefit us, you might ask? Firstly, they highly benefit us when it comes to food. Pollinators carry pollen from flowers into our food and make them a lot more fresh food. Like Sadie said, only 28% of our food would survive without pollinators because all of it would go rotten, so only 28% of it would stay fresh enough for everyone to eat. So they also influence food chain. Pollinators act as food for other animals that eat them, and then they also create the food that a lot of animals, including us, eat. Crop yield. Again, it goes back into food. They just create a lot more fresh food, creating much more crop yield. And in Iowa, a heavily crop-dependent state, it's especially influential that we need pollinators. So they're really important. And then soil and plants. There's a special kind of pollination. I forgot what it's called, but it's where pollinators carry pollen from the flowers, and they end up dropping all of the pollen into the soil, making it more moist and wet and better for our plants and stuff to grow. So overall, if we lose a larger amount of pollinators, it creates a huge fresh food ingredient shortage. And like I said, in Iowa, that's like really bad. We're very crop dependent, like soybeans and corn and stuff like that. So they're very important. So our solution is to create a butterfly garden here at West. Our definition of a butterfly garden is literally just a plot of land with a bunch of pollen-rich flowers for the bees, butterflies, hummingbirds to get pollen out of. So the benefits of this solution is it attracts lots of pollinators. When one pollinator is in an area, other pollinators will follow. They'll be like, oh my God, Bo has so much pollen there. That seems like a super cool place to hang out, and then they get all the pollen from the flowers that are there.
It also has a lot of aesthetic appeal. Having this garden at our school is like very bright, and it will increase social interaction, and it also enhances our landscape.
Yeah, it's also very educational for anyone that would see it. They could learn about the different kinds of pollinators and what flowers attract them, so that they could also create their own garden at home. So it kind of like all turns back on each other, so they could also like help pollinators too while learning about it. So.
These are customer results. We did a total of 57 interviews, which we thought the more the merrier. 86% of people believe the decline of pollinators is an issue. 94.4% of people believe our solution will work. Out of these people, we had a former biologist and a school principal tell us that this would work perfectly and that they would allow it.
Yeah.
These are some customer values. They said that, and I quote, "Because I love bees and pollinators are vital to plants, and there are a whole lot of plants in the world," which is basically telling us that pollinators are very, very important to our life cycle and to the environment. And these are basically the same thing as that.
Yeah, and the people that said that they don't believe pollinators are important basically didn't give us any info on why they were important. They're just like, I don't like bees. They just didn't believe pollinators were important because they just weren't educated about it, which is like part of our solution.
The location of where we're gonna put the garden is gonna be back in the back courtyard right there around this circle, and it will be a total of roughly 1,500 square feet.
Yeah, and the flowers are gonna be going all around the circle. So, our resources and costs. Our total cost is around $1,000, $900, roughly around that. We're gonna have 380 square feet of soil, which is about $200, and 1,500 square feet of mulch, which is 525, and all the mulch is gonna be covering the entire garden. And the mulch and the soil are gonna be bought by the truckload, so we don't have like a million bags to carry back and forth from like Lowe's or something. We're gonna do 2 hummingbird feeders on nearby trees. We're gonna hang them from the trees, and we're gonna get some hummingbird nectar to put inside those, and also some deer and rabbit repellent. And all the flower seeds are gonna be about $100. But our annual cost is about $600 because we don't need to rebuy all the soil every year. And this brings us to our flowers. A lot of our flowers are perennials.
Perennials are flowers that grow back every year, and each of these flowers are deer and rabbit resistant, and they also attract lots of pollinators. This is what our garden is gonna look like. The yellow dots, or the color of the dot, represents the flower that we're gonna be put with the color highlighted. So all the yellow ones are full sun flowers. All the orange ones, kind of by the trees, are part sun, full sun, and then all the purple, pink dots are part sun, full shade, which we put under the trees.
Yeah, there's already some trees planted out there, and we're not gonna be planning on removing those, because that would not benefit anyone. So we're just gonna keep the trees that are already planted out under there, and put the flowers that don't need much sunlight under them. So, yeah. These flowers are also repel rabbits and other animals that try to eat them too, which are also beneficial. So, our revenue and funding. The butterfly garden would not make any revenue because it's obviously gonna be free to experience and look at. That would just be dumb if we charge people to look at it. And when it comes to funding, we're gonna be creating a fundraiser every like winter or like right before the season comes, where it's like best for flowers. And we're gonna create the fundraisers through a club we created called the Butterfly Club.
So this butterfly club that we will have will be meeting the first Monday of every month, so not too often. And our goals will be spreading awareness about why pollinators are important. We will be running and promoting fundraisers to fund the garden, so all the fundraisers will be run through this club. And then they will also be helping construct the garden every year, as well as keep it maintained like throughout the spring.
Yeah, and also Sadie created this little logo right here. We might create like merchandise for anyone that's part of the Butterfly Club to just like get people to join, like, oh, they have really cool like shirts that they could do, and like maybe it would be like cool for me to join, like, oh, they're gonna join for the shirts, but then they're gonna learn like how cool it is to learn about pollinators and wanna stay even more. So yeah, it's gonna also be student run. So here is our advertising. They're basically the same poster, just one's for signing up for the Butterfly Club, and one's for the fundraising of it. So on each one, it's just giving you vital information on why pollinators are so important, and then like how much our garden costs for the fundraiser, where it's gonna go, and then like what our tasks are for the Butterfly Club. There's also a QR code that attaches to both me and Sadie's email, so then you can email us for any more info and questions that you need, and then just like when meetings are and where the fundraiser would probably be held. So yeah.
These are our next steps. First, we would like to get a school-wide email out to promote this amazing cause. Also, we will be putting up posters as seen as the last slide and advertisements all over the school. We'll be sending out fundraisers as ways to donate and help this cause.
Here are some of our sources. Any questions?